Videos you are about ready to watch are from an animated series called RevolutionaryWarAnimated.com. They are a visualization of the Revolutionary War battles that take place during this time period. Because our iPads will not play Flash, which these use, I have decided to record these and will read the text to you. All you have to do is sit back and watch. The first battle we're going to talk about is the battles of Lexington and Concord. April 1775. British commanders in Boston learned that rebels are stockpiling weapons and ammunition in the city of Concord. April 18th, in the morning, British General Gage decides to preempt the rebels by striking first. He plans to destroy rebel ammunition dumps in Concord with a lightning raid which the rebels cannot react to. April 18th, the morning. Gage knows that the rebels have set up a warning system using a group of fast riders. He sends out a cavalry patrol of 20 men with orders to stop any riders from spreading a warning. Joseph Warren sends Paul Revere and William Dawes on horse to warn of the coming raid. The two riders take different roads, and some 40 other messengers ride to spread the word further. Again at nighttime, April 18th, Revere and Dawes are joined by Dr. Samuel Prescott. The three are intercepted by a British patrol. Paul Revere is captured, Prescott escapes to warn Concord, and Dawes escapes back to Boston. At midnight on the 18th, 700 British troops cross the bay and at 0200 start on the 17-mile march to Concord. At the same time, rebel militias are forming throughout the area. At sunrise, the British are challenged by a group of 77 militiamen under Captain John Parker in Lexington. A shot is fired. 8 militiamen die. The remaining militiamen flee, and the war begins. Captain John Parker is famously said, "Stand your ground, don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here." As the British column approaches Concord, the heavily outnumbered militia under Colonel Barrett withdraws to a hill north of town. The British send 4 companies to search Barrett's farm. More militiamen arrive, and Barrett leads his 500 men to a hill overlooking North Bridge. A British company on the hill withdraws to the bridge. The 100 British watching anxiously near the bridge. Withholding their fire, the militiamen form and approach the bridge. The inexperienced British troops open fire, but fire too high. The militiamen return fire with devastating effect. 4 of the 8 British officers and sergeants are hit along with 12 of their men. The British troops, their first time in combat, panic and flee towards town. The 2 British companies at Barrett's farm find themselves cut off and rush back toward Concord. The militiamen allow them to pass. Lieutenant Colonel Smith prepares to withdraw from Concord. As the British march east, the militiamen use trails to cut them off at a bridge at Merriman's Corner, where other militia units are arriving. The militiamen will outnumber the British with 1,000 men. At the bridge, the British flanking parties withdraw to cross, and 1,000 militiamen open fire, killing 2 British soldiers and wounding others. The British troops are now in desperate trouble. Smith's forces repeatedly ambushes its struggles toward Lexington. General Gage, anticipating trouble, sends a strong relief force under Earl Hugh Percy, which leaves Boston early morning. Percy's force arrives in Lexington and positions for defense. Smith's force, with many officers and men wounded, including Smith, considers surrender. As they near Lexington, they break and run. Percy's force arrives in Lexington's positions for defense. Percy efficiently withdraws his force toward Boston under constant attack and often surrounded and outnumbered. By the time he nears Cambridge Bridge, the militiamen number some 4,000. Realizing the way south to Boston is blocked, Percy surprises the militiamen by heading northeast on a small road and manages to escape through Charleston's Neck. Realizing the way south to Boston is blocked, again I read that, my fault. The rebels have won the first battle of the war, and the British now find themselves besieged in Boston by an army of 15,000 militiamen. The Revolutionary War has begun. Bunker Hill is next. The next day, the British find themselves besieged in Boston by a force of 15,000 patriots. The first battle has been fought and the Revolutionary War has begun. British commanders still underestimate the resolve and fighting capabilities of the Patriot soldiers. In June, the British will attempt to overwhelm the Patriots again with a show of force on the Charlestown Peninsula, but they will win the battle only at a terrible cost. After a long siege, the British will finally abandon Boston when the Patriots manage to bring cannon received from Fort Ticonderoga to the Boston area. George Washington and his fledgling army will win their first victory. The Patriots win a stunning victory, proving that they can and will fight. The Patriots militia chooses to fight at Concord and completely surprises the British forces due to the lack of organization by the Patriot commanders and excellent command by Lord Perry on the British side. The Patriots allowed the British forces to escape to Boston. For the British are unprepared for a real battle and almost lose their entire force. Only the skill of Lord Percy gets their forces back to safety of Boston.